Welcome everybody to episode 198 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson, and we saw each other in person today.
We saw each other twice this weekend.
This is unheard of.
Unusual, yeah.
It was like,
and our third time today.
We've spoken 3 times in a few days. That's not unusual. We've recorded back-to-back days and done stuff like that, but yeah, dinner on Friday night. That was lovely, and then
Social butterflies. Look at us.
We are, and then we were at the trade day for our sponsor, Fastbreak Trading Cards today, which was a lot of fun.
I think we start there.
I think that's just the best place to start. Like we had an amazing day.
Yep.
And it was their 1 year anniversary. So congrats to the guys at Fastbreak. It was, they put on a show, don't they?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It really was. They just knew how to do it. And I was thinking about it today afterwards when I came home. I'm like, if you sat down and had a meeting and said, okay, what do we want from a trade day? You know, what do we want to achieve here? I feel like they ticked all those boxes. They had, lots of people coming through the door.
Yep.
They had things on special. So they had 10% off singles, 20% off sealed.
Which was huge, by the way. That was like, the sealed product moving. Yeah.
Giveaways for the kids. The first 50 kids went through the door, got a little prize, which was like really cool. And the kids enjoyed opening the packs, and they had like chockies in there for the kids and a sticker. Then they had a raffle and they had a giveaway for that. And then they had people cooking food. They had people giving out drinks for people, non-alcoholics, of course.
And it was there was sausage sizzle. It was awesome.
Yeah. Then they had tables set up so people could put their cases out, and there was a few notable people there. So Darren from the Melbourne Cartel was there. So Darren, g'day. And my kids played with Darren's kids for probably 2 or 3 hours. And it was just they had a great time.
Awesome.
They're hoping to catch up with him again. And then Jono Michaels was there. And
Michaels was there. That was a grand entrance with cases galore.
He had his suitcases. I thought he was staying over the night, to be honest. Yeah. He's having a sleepover. That was the impression I got when he turned up.
Yeah.
It was great.
Joe Fu was there. That was good. We had a good chat, and obviously had dinner with Joe the other night. That was pleasant. A really interesting catch up.
Yep.
That was fun. But yes, I did get one bit of feedback from Darren with regards to he couldn't believe that he saw what he saw when he met me today. And for those playing at home on YouTube, that's right. I bit the bullet. I have my Luka Doncic jersey. That doesn't mean I'm buying any Luka Doncic cards, but he plays
just
on
a
the
matter
team
of
I
time,
go
Ad.
for.
You've already crumbled to get a jersey, so I think it's just a matter of time till you start buying some RPAs.
I'm on the train. That's all right. Yeah. I don't want him to disappoint me anymore. But it was a lovely day. We had a lot of fun. It was great to see kids just trading cards and opening packs and flicking through the bargain boxes, looking for Pokemon cards, for footy cards, for basketball cards. It wasn't just any one hobby. It was just kids enjoying the hobby.
The energy was absolutely fantastic today.
Yeah.
So
yeah. As I said, these guys know how to put on a show, and we're looking forward to the next one already.
Yeah. So fastbreaktradingcards.com. Check out the guys. They've been supporting us now for a really long time. We're very grateful for it. 75 Tulip Street in Cheltenham. Friday 12 till 6, Saturday 9 till 5, and Sunday 10 till 4. What I was looking at some football stuff. When I say football, I mean soccer. I picked up a box of Topps Chrome last week, and this week, here it is here, Topps Finest Bundesliga Soccer Hobby. So that was for $165. But I think it's $165 on their website, but I think it was around the $130 mark today. So thank you so much, guys, for the great deal. And, it was just absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
a lot of giveaways. Yeah, there were door prizes. It was like a free entry raffle. Everybody that was there got an opportunity to win something. So it was awesome. It was really,
really, really good.
Can't speak highly enough of the guys there at Fastbreak.
Yeah, they're absolutely killing it, and good on them. Honestly, I think we're just proud of them. I think that's the best way I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, happy first birthday is to the store. Yep, That was awesome.
Alrighty, first thing in our run sheet ad is a Wemby card sale comparison. So this is from Slab Stocks. Follow these guys on Instagram. They just do some really good content and not over the top sort of nonsense stuff like other stuff you see out there. Which do you think was a better buy for the money? Last night at Fanatics Collect auction had 2 huge Wembys 1-of-1 sell. The NT Rookie Logoman 1-of-1 PSA 9 and the Mercury Game Worn logo patch auto inscribed 1-of-1 BGS 9.5. So obviously, without pointing out, before we talk about prices, the first thing we need to point out is one is licensed and unlicensed. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's exactly the word that I was looking for.
The unlicensed one has an autograph on it. Isn't that great?
Yeah. So I think if you said that, you've got one that's unlicensed with a patch, game-worn patch, and then autograph on it, and it's 1-of-1. Would it sell for 5 times less than the non-autographed? I'm not too sure if that's game-worn or not, but I'm going to tip that it's not game-worn.
Just a random NBA logo. It might not even be off a jersey. Let's be fair.
And it's sold for $528,000. So it's a really interesting comparison actually, because I think there's 2 parts to this. Obviously, there's the unlicensed and licensed component, but then there's a huge divide there. Despite the much better value for money, I think you're getting at that $78,000 mark. But I think at the end of the day, if you sort of keep going back to Prism draft picks, or you go back to, to Mercury, and you go back to Leaf products that come out, you just do not get the same return on those cards, even if they are comparable cards, on what you get from a fully licensed card. So I think this is a really good, almost like a teaching moment, and a really good example for people to make it, as crystal clear as you possibly can, how important that licensing actually is to a card and to a card sale. So I think for me,
that'll look down the track though. Do you think that'll change?
Look, it might change a little bit, and I think the person who paid $78K for that, look, I actually think that's a pretty savvy purchase. I think my problem with obviously the 1-of-1 is from NT is it doesn't have that autograph on it, but clearly
I've got a big problem with it because it should have the Don Russ no autograph inscription on it. I think they really missed the window and the opportunity to have that no autograph, which has become so synonymous with all this rookie product for the people that aren't signed with Panini.
I'm glad they've stopped doing the non-autograph. I didn't like that. Yeah, I sort of found that almost
tacky,
distracting, and it was sort of it was a very negative sort of connotation attached to the card. Whereas I think doing what they've done here it's just a really nice, nicely laid out card. To answer your question specifically, no, I don't think so. I think to me what this demonstrates is this is what collectors want. Collectors want authentic, licensed product as opposed to something that's unlicensed. So yeah, it's this to me is a really interesting case study, for that exact reason.
And to be fair, it's a licensed autograph. It's just the NBA jersey stuff is not licensed. So
and clearly
we don't want to tread on the wrong, because they're the ones that are authorized to use his auto.
Yeah, for sure, but they're not allowed to use the NBA stuff. And I think if you're looking at the jersey there, it's it's a terrible Photoshop that they've done too. So
it's woeful. It's actually it's gross. It's like he's at trading. It probably is like he's taken from him being at training. But it's what do people value more? The licensed card with whatever the logo patch comes from, the manufactured patch, actual game worn, some other guy that isn't Victor Wembanyama's jersey, whatever. But the licensed card from Panini, which is obviously being sold for $500,000, or Wemby's autograph with some like bells and whistles on it.
So if you could purchase either of those, which would you choose?
I'm with the one that sold for $500,000. But I like the Logo Man. The Logo Man it's a Logo Man. It's the Logo Man 1-of-1. I mean, it's sad that it doesn't have an autograph on it, but it's still a Logo Man. Really interesting question from our friend Anthony Milne.
G'day,
should
Anthony.
Unlicensed cards be allowed to be graded? Should the unlicensed one? Should Beckett have graded that?
Why can't they grade it?
Because it's not a licensed card. So it's the NBA license that they don't. It's a licensed basketball card. Tops are allowed to produce them. So
I think my answer to that is I think it depends what you're
it.
grading. So where I'm going with this is we know it's from Topps, which is a very reputable company. Topps do baseball. Topps have done basketball, obviously, in the past. So I don't think there's a problem with it because it's coming from Topps. If it's coming from Leaf, I've got some problems with that. And without going too much into that, they've had problems in the past with the authenticity of their autographs. And I think that for me
Yeah.
is a very dark cloud that sort of hangs over the Leaf stuff. And so whether that should be authenticated, I don't think so. But I think in this instance, that's okay. And particularly when you see the price point difference. So you went for the logo, man. Actually, I would go for the patch autograph. I actually think for dollar spend, I think you're getting a lot more, back for your money.
Yeah.
I also think too that maybe that's a little bit under for the RPA 1 of 1. Whereas I kind of feel like the NT, maybe that's a fraction over ads.
Yeah. Oh, look. The NT one might be overs. I just don't like the aesthetic of the RPA. Like, it just doesn't feel like an RPA.
Mm.
And for the amount of words on there, that it's just like they have to be careful not to use NBA on it. It's.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
national
all
treasures.
those
It
things.
doesn't say NBA national treasures and stuff on it, but at least it says NBA on the card. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just says
I probably
23,
think
24, tops, Mercury, autograph, relics, foil, refractors, War 2, Victor Wembanyama, inscription, verified by Fanatics.
it does have his rookie card emblem on it
Yep.
in that bottom left on the Fanatics card. And look, probably at the end of the day, I think you're right. I think you've chosen the right card. I think probably what I'm trying to struggle with is just the price point on that. But,
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this the other day, keeping in mind the timeline, like this is clearly post-injury. So maybe that's something else that's, that's a really positive thing that's come out of this. Okay, so this is 2 massive cards that have sold post-injury, and to put, $500,000 into a card, like that's, like, to me, that's like honestly quite risky. So I think that says a lot to me about what's going on, with his sales. So in lieu of all of that, let's really quickly check out his silver PSA 10s. Last sold for $7.19. So the last 3 months, he's actually up 2%. Let's just zoom into the last month. He's down just 1%. So despite all of this, actually, he's been incredibly stable. The lowest in the last 6 months that he's been down to is 673. Like this, I would actually say, considering what he's been through, that is insanely stable. I was expecting fireworks shooting down to the ground, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm just looking into the pop report.
That's a separate podcast altogether. How much time have we got to go through?
No, I'm just trying to see what the numbers are.
388 of these.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So total is 7,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pop, and I'm like, you know what? There's 5 black labels BGS.
Yeah, right.
Just got it in my mind. Because the 9.5,
which is a huge number though, Ad. Because actually, when you think about it, they're so tough to get a black label. So I think it's really funny. I think the perception at the moment is that Prism or Panini product isn't produced that well. I actually think the last couple of years the quality control's been much improved, and I would say a gem rate of 66% demonstrates that. And in addition to that, 5 black labels. Like, you tell me, what other card has got 5 black labels on it? I'm sure there's one out there, but to me, that's like, it's quite amazing. There's a Wemby. Oh, there's 5 of them basically. Alrighty.
Yeah, well, 5 black labels is pretty impressive.
Yep. I just noticed you put the eye-catching sale in there. I think that's exactly the same card.
That's the 528. Yeah, we were just talking about.
We were just chewing the fat on, so we can skim through that bad boy. And then what have
there
we got
there
here?
was a previous one that they talked about, because they were talking about that card specifically. Where will it end? I think it was bidded up to a couple of 100K, and everyone's like, when is it going to end? So for it to hit 500, that was
it's
pretty
huge.
impressive,
That is insane.
Especially with
there
the
must
injury.
have been a few. Yeah, that's right. There must have been a couple of guys bidding on that pretty hard. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Sports card investor Victor Wembanyama surpasses Zion as the most graded Prism card by a PSA, according to our friends at GemRate. So there is 42,500 Wembys and 42,400 Zions. I actually think it's the perfect time for us to segue into a little GemRate conversation. We have not done GemRate numbers for a very, very long time. So Ryan, if you are out there listening, we send you the warmest wishes from Australia and hope that you're well, mate. Grading recap from the 10th of March to the 16th. Total items graded. PSA 332,000 minus 1%. CGC coming in second at 52,000 minus 30%. SGC 38,000 minus 14%. And Beckett coming in last of the big 4 at 10,000 200 cards -6%. Just insane numbers, isn't it? Like I think we haven't gone through this for a little while, and it really feels like to me that the juice is just getting squeezed on this grading market hard right now, isn't it?
It's pretty insane when you think about it. It's it's nuts.
Mm.
You think about what we used to like, what happened pre-COVID, like the amount of cards that were graded. Like it was a lot, but it wasn't as regular like this.
Yeah. Are
It's
you surprised that Beckett is down so low?
No, I think they just putter along at their pace.
Yeah.
And I really feel like they've drifted off the planet, so to speak, with regards to the way they operate. I think Beckett are just this line that's their own little wave. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, that said, I also think PSA is this unassailable juggernaut at the moment, and
yeah,
I don't know. I touched on this. I actually have a chat with somebody about this today, and I said I don't know if the gap is healthy for the hobby. But that's just a view. There's no.
What do you think is unhealthy? So I'm looking at the graph items graded by week. What do you think is unhealthy about that?
About you mean the separation between PSA and next?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I just don't. I think
what about it? Do you know what I mean? Like just sort of.
So my problem
like pat
is
it out a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So my issue or the thing that I raised concerns with, and we've over the years, I believe this is exactly what's happened. A smaller grading company makes a minor mistake and they're out because everybody turns on them. PSA make mistakes and everybody's reaction seems to be, but they're huge. Little things are going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're not being held accountable for the screw ups that happen. And the less accountability they have, the more they can exploit the consumer. I just feel like there's less oversight in the grading world now because of the dominance of PSA. It's actually their brand, not their quality, that we're trusting. And that's purely.
So you don't
conjecture.
trust the overlord? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. I'm saying they're writing their name. It's not about the quality of the output.
Sure, you're
There's
paying
no
for the
way
brand.
to cross check. Yeah, but you're not able to verify that the PSA 10s you're getting are actual PSA 10s. Like there are errors that happen, and I don't know. I have concerns. I feel like there's no oversight. There's no one watching PSA to see what they dish out and how their quality control is done. And I think when it comes to something like grading, there needs to be some level of, and I'm not saying it needs to be legislative oversight. Like it doesn't need to be like a defined in like government regulated policy. What I'm saying is there needs to be some oversight or watchdog that say, what happens if PSA get lazy and start dishing out 10s to all the 9s?
Yeah.
Just to make people happier. Who's going to have the oversight? I'm not saying it happens. I'm just saying who does it if it does happen that way. And I think we, as a consumer, tend to let them off the hook for a lot of stuff too. Whereas Beckett, nobody lets off the hook these days because they've shrunk into non-existence. Any other smaller grader, they make one mistake and no one ever wants to grade with them again. Like PSA are a snowball that's just rolling down a hill and can't be stopped.
So
I'm like, what would it take? What would it take to get people to not trust PSA?
Yeah. So don't quote me on what I'm about to say, but
sure.
I'm pretty sure that I was reading a while back that they're going to be implementing a system so you actually can now see what the grading flaws are on the card.
Okay, I know there were some changes and transparency.
Yeah, so I think that's a long time coming. So I think you're talking about, who's checking up on them. Like I think that's a really good way to start to get that transparency.
Who's checking the checkup?
It's really easy to then understand, what the problem is. They actually do keep records of the cards they're graded because I definitely know of an instance when there was an expectation a card was going to be sent off and come back as a 9 or a 10. The card came back as was a 5 or a 6. It was significantly less than what they were expecting. The sub person actually contacted PSA and they got back to them and said, look, here is where the mark is. When they looked at it under a microscope, they could see the mark that PSA was talking about. So, there is some feedback there. I actually got a card back myself from PSA today. I come back as a 9 and 10 on the autograph. So it's a Crown Royale card. Obviously
this is the one you were talking about on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really happy with the result that I got. And then I was actually just reading the PSA grading standard. So PSA 9 is nearly perfect with only one minor flaw. And I think sometimes we get so caught up on if it's not a PSA 10, it's worth nothing. But like, I think in this instance, particularly when it's the Crown Royal card with all those extra edges on it, and the card is numbered to just 8, I'm actually, and now that I've read that, I kind of feel like doubly happy, if that makes sense. So I think this is a really long-winded answer of like how I'm replying back to you, but I agree. Like, I understand what you're saying when you feel like there's no oversight, but I think there is processes on their back end. And then, for example,
but it's not about their internal processes. What I mean is who's looking at their processes. Well, this is what I mean about this particular business being regulated, because everyone puts there's so much money invested on a grade.
Sure,
but that's all. Look, I'm being a bit cynical about it, but I see a lot of people blindly trusting PSA. I get they've got the guarantee, and look, I understand they've
got their guarantee, the market share, but also to the aftermarket resale price. Like they're the three really big things. I think
but there are all right. So there are PSA counterfeit Jordans. There are every time there's a screw up, it's brushed under the rug, and we still trust PSA wholeheartedly. That concerns me. That's all.
No, fair. All right, let's go to a break. We're somehow. We're already up to 24 minutes. I think we've segued pretty hard.
We love a chat. Come on, we love a chat.
All right, we'll be right back. And we are back. Adam, how are you, champ?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Great. All righty, MJ Topps Chrome. Let's talk about this because this is in a Wizards uniform. You don't see a lot of these.
Ooh, an MJ.
I don't think you see a lot of these for two reasons. I think the first reason is because anyone who thinks about Jordan, they fantasize about him in that sort of beautiful red-colored uniform that he was wearing, not this wonky-looking Wizards blue, right? But he did play for the Wizards, and it seems to me like there is now becoming a collector's market for this. So look, this has actually got the all-time sales on this. So this is going back to 2007. If my old man eyes can read that properly. This sold for $40 back then. And it's just progressively come up. So it nearly sold for about the current comp. I think that sold for, it looks to me like about 3,600. Trended down and across for a little bit, and then it spiked back up again. So this sold for 3,800. Population on this is just 48. So I think that's a major part of what's driving the sale up on this.
Pretty crazy.
I got to tell you, I'm not like doing cartwheels over this sale in any form, but I think what this just hits home for me is that people love MJ, people love refractors or prisms, however you would like to label this card as.
Well, Topps like them as call them refractors. Panini likes to call them prisms.
But in my head, it's just a shiny card that's a parallel, right? So for me, if you want to call it a refractor or a prism, like I could care less, honestly. It's the beautiful shiny looking one that looks insane. Yeah. So, that's sort of I don't have a deep analysis on this card, People have shiny stuff, people have Jordan, people have PSA 10. So, maybe what we should be doing is looking these ones up and buying them on the low.
Well, I think there is a market for that. Like but what about finding the PSA 10 equivalents? What about finding actual PSA 10?
Yeah.
Like if you see these superstars of the game, and there's not many of them. I don't think LeBron's quite there yet. But I'm literally like you see old MJs and Kobe's.
Yeah.
Those inserts from like the late 90s, maybe PSA 10, and you're paying less than $100 or $200. Get the card. Just get the card because there's a chance it goes up. Spikes like crazy.
We were talking about two of those cards last week when we were talking about the Steph Curry and the Giannis, and
but I agree with you. Are there any other players like that? Like, is it? Because I reckon there's only a handful in history, kind of thing. Like Magic Johnson, not so much.
Who's your handful of people that you would include into that bracket then?
I would say Jordan.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would say Kobe.
Yeah.
I think LeBron.
Yeah, definitely.
Once he retires, that will start happening. I'm an R with regards to other 90s superstars like Shaq, Hakeem, and players like that.
Nah.
I just don't think...
Steph is bigger than those two combined. So
Yeah. So
that's 4, so he's got one more.
So I've got Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Steph.
Yep.
Number 5 is TBD.
Oh, come on now.
I'm not gonna say Giannis. I don't know. I actually don't know. Like I would have said someone like but it's not. You've got anyone before Jordan doesn't have the variety of inserts, and after Jordan, it's. I keep trying to think, but
all right, I'll give you
know.
a bit of a hand because sometimes you can get a bit blocked. Shaq, Magic, Larry Bird, Kareem, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Charles Barkley, Hakeem, Dr. J, Baylor, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Jerry West, Tim Duncan,
None of
Moses
those have
Malone,
inserts.
Scottie
Sorry,
Pippen, Walt Frazier,
Charles Barkley
George
has inserts.
Mike
Shaq
and
has
Isaiah Thomas,
inserts.
Drexler, Kuzi. Yeah, now we're sort of getting down to like a bit more like
you know,
mid sort of stuff.
Like I thought Shaq was probably at the top of that. Like I'm a Pippen collector, but I'm not putting Pippen in that pile. Shaq, I'm like, oh, maybe, but that's probably because I hang out, like I talk to Joe Fu more than other collectors, so I know a Shaq collector. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think anyone, and I still, there is a limit to the players of today that you put up. Like I think Steph for me is a lot. Steph's the next man up on that mountain.
Definitely.
But I can't even put Jokic there. Like
I was going to say that's my pick.
Yeah.
My pick is Jokic because I just think that he's a here and he's also a future guy, and I think that's what I've been betting on this last 12 months. Okay, so this is actually the perfect time to segue into our next segment, and just sort of watch the slight tears come down my eyes as we start to talk about this card. So this is the blue number 299.
Yeah.
Last sold for 11,750. If you look at the all-time sales on this, it was trading at like $100 in early 2020. So that card has just exponentially gone up. So it hit 4,000 in COVID. That's sort of like mid 2021. Obviously, it came down a little bit after COVID. So it was trading around the $6,000 mark. And that has just gone on a steep uphill ever since. So, this is just reinforcing like what I said last week, where I just didn't have the testicular fortitude to buy a card, and this is just it gave me indigestion when I saw the sale on this. I'm not going to lie to you, I had like a bit of bile in my mouth, sort of like
this is like feeling, I can't do this anymore. Sorry.
Oh god, it's just rubbing salt in the wounds at this point. And last week we did a player versus player, Jokic and SGA. We're not going to do that again this week, but there was another massive SGA card sold this week. It is his blue ice. This is numbered to 99. This to me is fascinating. Wow. This sold for $9,000. And the same thing with this card here. This has just exponentially gone up. So, I feel like this has doubled in a couple of months, frankly. So this sold this year for a little bit less than 5,000. Then there's been another, it looks to me like there's two little dots there. So two more sales. And then this most recent sale of that. Population on this is 35 at the PSA 10. Yeah, this is just like, for me, I find this really troubling because I'm like, that's just pure speculation. You're buying at the hype time. You're buying when everyone else is sort of jumping on this train, so to speak. And then, look, I suppose at the same time, if I be a bit more rational about it, even though my initial reaction is that this is numbered to 99, whereas the Jokic one is numbered to 199. So you could look at it
you
could say it's twice as scarce, but also too, there's a lot more parallels when it comes to this particular year. Like if you're, comparing apples to apples, I think you do have to factor that in a little bit. And then also the total pop count. Mm-hmm. On the Jokic rookies versus the SGA, there's a lot more total SGA rookies there is in the Jokic one. So, but still, this to me it's tough. I feel like to me this is a very much like a buyer beware type card, and if you are purchasing this, I just feel like there's a lot more risk that comes along with it. With this Jokic one, I'm kind of like, this is almost the natural progression I was expecting to happen at some point with this card. It's probably happened sooner than what I was expecting. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's definitely here. So what's your thoughts on these two cards? You can sort of roll it into one if you'd like.
It is. It's the Jokic, I feel like it was naturally going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like it's a delayed reaction. I feel like this spike is well and truly overdue. I'm surprised it wasn't up over 10K sooner. The light blue, any of the Jokic rookie stuff that's light blue, I was very big on as far as the color match side of things.
Yeah.
I think the select die cut was a light blue that I was like, if I had a rookie, I'd want that one.
Yeah.
And that's a very beautiful one. But yeah, this light blue, perfect. Interesting that OKC's got a light blue color match as well, and that's the one that's spiked for
Yeah, right.
SGA. So
You reckon it's a thing around the color match?
yeah. I like it might be. Like it just might be the popular color. Like I know Lakers stuff in the purple is thing because of the color match.
It's hot. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks great. And it does, especially it's not only numbered, but it's color matched to the team. So as we were talking, we actually touched on it last week with the green so much with Jason Tatum versus a green numbered is escalating it yet again.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, I maybe I put too much stock in color matching, but the numbered side of it, like I think it's a smart move.
Just really quickly, the Kia MVP ladder at the moment. This is off NBA.com. This article is written by Sean Powell. It's his projected rankings for the MVP. He's got SGA at number 1. He was last week at number 2. Jokic at number 2. Last week was number 1. His numbers 29.1 points, 12.8 rebounds, and 10 points. He's actually averaging a triple-double this season. The guy's just a basketball machine. Number 3 is Giannis at 30 points a game, 11.9 rebounds, and 6 assists. Like that's... Maybe we're actually in the midst of actually quite a remarkable season, but we just, when you're in the moment, but you don't realize it. Like if you read out the third place person in the MVP race and they're averaging 30, 12, and 6, that's nuts. Number 4, Tatum at 27, 8.7 rebounds and 6 assists. Donovan Mitchell at 5. And then the next 5 is Steph Curry, Cade, LeBron James, Evan Mobley, and Jalen Brunson. So my reflection on this list is that you can see the youth, like the next generation coming through. So you've got Evan Mobley there.
Yeah.
You've got Cade Cunningham there. You got Donovan Mitchell and you got Jason Tatum in the top 5. Like this is, to me, it's really exciting. You know, obviously SGA at number 1. So
yeah, it's true. There's a new wave. There's a changing of the guard happening, and I think I've been sharing some funny memes about Steph Curry and LeBron getting old, and it's just these new guys are coming. They're coming hard for them. They're really. Yep. They're full steam ahead. OKC is top of the NBA right now. After the Cavs dropped a couple of games, OKC is the number 1 team in the league.
Yeah,
and the youth, it's the next wave is here.
That's right. We don't need to just talk about the Lakers like what Charles Barkley says.
No, we don't. The Lakers will be there. Don't worry. We know it's going to be a Boston LA finals. But it's nice for the young ones to think they've got a shot.
Yeah. Alrighty. Advertisement time. Game Time International. Thank you very much for your sponsorship and your support. We are very flattered that you would like to work with us on some sponsorship, so thank you very much. The reason why we've reached out to you is because of the quality of your product. You make these beautiful magnetic one-touches that just display cards in a very, very beautiful manner.
Me too.
Now, last week, I was in search of words that I couldn't think of what it was. So basically, when you take the one touch out of the packet, it comes in a removable plastic film. Now, the whole purpose behind that is when you take it out of the packet, you then remove this plastic film. The surface of your one touch is absolutely flawless. You put it into the penny sleeve that's provided. And again, somehow the penny sleeve just sits in there perfectly. There's no bubbles. There's no air pockets. There's no blemishes on your product. And your card is just put onto perfect display. That's the other reason why I really like these products, because of the penny sleeve that's inside of it. It's just fantastic. Superior display, no flaws, best in the hobby. Thank you very much to GTI. Now, go to their website, GameTimeInternational.com. They will ship international to you. There's no problems at all. Australians who are getting tired of dealing with customs, I would say it's going to be very unlikely that you'll be purchasing more than $1,000 of magnetic, so you will not have a problem about getting these over the border. Shout out to our friends in taxation and border control. Hope you're all very well today.
But yes, they've got a pretty good range of products too. Top loaders, a whole lot.
Alrighty, we're back. Adam, how you doing, champ?
I'm great. Aside from being trolled about how badly the Lakers did in the chat, but that's fine.
You deserve.
No one wanted to know. Well, Josh Giddey almost got a quadruple double today.
You deserve all of the nonsense that people give you about the Lakers, like, let's be honest, the Lakers are just player stealers. I think it's
Player
simple as that.
stealers. It was Nico that delivered Luca to our door.
But, I mean, to be fair, that's actually the right question. Why on earth did... No, I'm not going down this rabbit hole. I'm not doing it.
Anthony Davis has got a new shoe out. It's called a moon boot.
How great would it be if he actually released a shoe that was called that?
He should have his own range of medical supplies. As the Dallas Mavericks should, let's be fair.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right. Mailbag. Thank you, everybody who has submitted your questions. We love talking about people's mailbag questions. Tin Lamb. Tin, I'm not sure that you have messages before, so welcome to the show. Thank you for listening.
Welcome.
With cards being lost and stolen in postage or taxes charged on higher-end cards, is vaulting an option, or do we still want to hold cards in our possession? So the answer is vaulting is a very, very good option, and it's also something that people do to avoid taxes. So to answer your question, this is something that is being done currently, and yes, people are sort of aware of this loophole. There's multiple competing vaults out there at the moment. There's obviously the PSA vault, there's the eBay vault, there's the Fanatics Collect vault.
Yep.
You can use ComC as a vault to a degree if you're sending cards over for sale and then they never sale. You can also purchase cards on ComC and then leave them over there until you send them out. I think there is a fee at some point in the line on that, so don't quote me on the ComC one, but that's also one.
Yeah.
So Tin, yes, that is absolutely something that's to be done, and there's information out there available on that.
Yeah.
Andrew Suter Hewitt, would you do the honors, my friend?
Yeah. How about with Panini ending its contract with the NBA and Fanatics taking over, design a product that you would like Fanatics to start the reign with? Okay. Could be a Frankenstein type product of anything past, present, or what do you guys think something in the hobby needs, not wants? It's an interesting one. What kind of Frankenstein product would you?
So is he saying, like, so for example, a high-end Chronicles where it's flawless?
Yeah. Like what's maybe like what are we launching it with? Like instead of it, like look seriously, the low-hanging fruit for Fanatics was to launch with Topps Chrome, right?
Yeah.
And Panini, obviously, their flagship became Prism. I'll let you take this one first because I'm
right.
my
so I've got
brain's
two
thinking.
answers.
It sounds like you've got an idea, yeah.
So my first answer is what you just said, the low-hanging fruit. I think the obvious thing that they're going to do is just go straight to Topps Chrome. I think there's
they've already released Topps Chrome without the license. Of course they're going to launch it with it.
Sure. But I mean, when they're licensed and it comes out, right? So that's the first scenario. The second scenario, which I'm going to continue on with Andrew's hypothetical here. So let's just say hypothetically that Panini and Fanatics' lawsuit ends in a draw. And they're like, okay, now what you actually have to do is work together.
Oh, okay.
So then Upper Deck sees that they have to work together. So now they've got Panini, Fanatics, Topps, and Upper Deck all in this laboratory together. And they just release this product, which is like Chronicles, but it's the new Flawless. And so what they do is they just put all of these, the best of all of these products into like, one thing. And they just draw all these autographs in together too. So then you've got LeBron, you've got Jordan, you've got Wemby, you've got Luka, you've got Ja, KD.
Yeah.
And it's just like this mega product that comes out. That's my hypothetical for this, which is never going to happen. But
yeah.
This is my utopian world.
Anthony Milne, again, in the chat.
You asked for a Frankenstein product, Andrew, and I feel like I gave you the biggest Frankenstein possible.
I think I'm going to piggyback on some ideas because Anthony Milne's put redemption with personal auto with the person's name in a name on it. Like when you get your redemption, the person that gets it redeemed gets it personalized.
Oof.
Personalized autos. Can you imagine? I don't think the secondary market will like it. I think collectors will love it. My product.
Well, hang on a second, but you could also ask them to write. You could ask them to write something. So, for example,
scripted. Yeah, good point.
So you're a Steph Curry guy. You go 40,000 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Or the best 3-point shooter ever. Or if you've got a Dominique Wilkins, the best dunker ever.
Yeah.
Or you should have won the dunk competition versus Jordan. Something like that. Like how great would that be? Yeah.
Gold medal game, night, best, all the best Steph. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I like that.
piggybacking
I
off
like
your
that a lot.
piggyback there. Yeah.
That was good. I think I actually think experiences are something they'll use in the product. And we talked about Frankenstein, so I'm like, I know we talked about the concept a while back with NFTs coming with extra stuff, where
Yeah.
it's just like if you rip this, you get invited to an event. I think they
Yeah.
tried to do that.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that seems like something they've trialed and they might explore in the future. I actually my product would be that Topps do a buyback every year and release a buyback product, and they jump into the repack market. That would be
So be a bit more
that would
specific,
be,
because there's already a buyback program with Topps already, where
but a
there's a
buyback
particular
product.
player,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think if they make the finals in baseball or whatever, the World Series, whatever it's
Yeah.
called,
Yep.
then you can take those cards into the hobby shop and they give you $5 a piece for them, or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
So what are you
this would
talking about
be,
with the buyback? Yeah, what do you mean?
so they would. So Topps would put their hat into the ring with a repack product. So they buy stuff back and repack and redistribute. I don't know how that's going to work.
Can I be honest with you? I actually feel like we should edit this out, because I feel like that's something Topps would actually do, and just mess with all these huge breakers and repackers out there and just try and
Well, it's
take
not our
something
idea
else
that
out of
we're.
the market. Right?
Look, if they come up with it, we're not taking credit for it anyway. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm sure Topps is
if you
listening
want
to our podcast
like
every week
and
religiously.
if Topps are listening and want to reach out and take me on board as an ideas guy, I'm happy to
as a
discuss and
consultant.
negotiate. That's it. Like some ideas down here in the land of Oz.
Yeah.
We've come up with some pretty good ideas in Australia. We've got 130 point. We've got Tyson Beck. Why can't we be the next big brains that come out and hide by Topps? Easy. We've already called our other segment Timeless Moments and tempted and asked Panini to come at us. So why not go at both of them?
That's right.
Alan Ginter already have the keep card or open the back. Yeah, true. Just reading a couple of. But I don't know. I think there'll be some play space. As far as a flagship product go, I don't know what it'll be, but I hope they don't go the one trick pony with Topps Chrome. I think they're mucking around with ideas for names of the flagship product at the moment.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I think these little eminence and stuff like that they're trying to come up with a name that becomes their highlight product. So
definitely
when it comes out, I don't know. Just bring back the proper rookie shield. Don't like this crappy new one you've got.
We have to cope with all that stuff, mate. There's going to be all new artwork that we're going to hate.
I know.
Yeah.
Was there one other answer?
Mark Schmidt, in March Madness fashion, an NBA product bracket. Sweet 16 knockout style, Prism, Hoops, Revolution, Flawless, NT, Court Kings, Flux, iMac, Impeccable, Noir, Select, Spectra, Donruss, Optic, Mosaic, Origins knockout bracket. I'll let you do the seedings and replace anything I left out. I think this sounds fun.
Yeah, let's do that. Do you want to do it? Should we do it next week?
Well, I think we
just do it on socials over. Yeah, put it on socials
vote.
All right, and do it every couple of days. Have a vote for a new bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, head to head. Let's do it.
Put a couple to you just to sort of get us warmed up. Prism versus Hoops. Who have you got?
Prism.
Revo versus Flawless.
Flawless.
Like come on. NT versus Court Kings.
NT.
Flux versus Immaculate. Impeccable versus Noir.
Can you put the high end product against the high end product?
I'm just reading it off the list.
Oh, okay. I'm like you can't put. You go Court Kings versus Revo maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, eventually
NT versus Flawless.
It'll get weeded out by the time we get to the end. I think.
Yeah. But
Impeccable versus Noir is interesting. That's not
all right. So, but Mosaic versus Select.
I'll take Select, even though I love Mosaic dearly.
I was egging you on there because I was waiting for you to say Mosaic because I would have selected Select.
Yeah, and also it just opens so nicely with those 3 hits out of Select. It's
Spectra versus Noir.
Oh, I think Noir for me with the the sneaker spotlights and the on-card autographs, and I find Spectra a little bit too sparkly for me. As much as I actually quite like those cards, but if you're putting me down to those two, all right.
But I think you got to go like for like, right?
I think eventually, but then also too, as you go through the brackets, it's going to get weeded out and
It'll get
it's going
weird.
to
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
out. Yeah.
But
So
surely the first bracket can't be.
to be honest, I actually think this would be best if you just put it in a bracket randomized.
We'll do it. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. We'll
I'm
do it
sure there'll be a
randomized.
piece of software out there for you. Mark,
We'll be
thank you
able to
so
do
much,
it.
mate. That's a really fun one, and that will give me something to do tomorrow night after work. So beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think if we go to a break now, that'll give us 10 or 15 minutes for the last segment, and
For
then we'll
little
be back
quick
on
hitters,
track.
and then we're done.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
Done.
US Sports Cards Australia, thank you very much for your ongoing support. Ross has got a major problem at the moment. He's launched this product called Check Out My Cards Australia, or ComCA, as Ross likes to call it. And the problem that he's having is not enough cards are coming in. All the cards are being listed and sold. He needs your cards, so please go to ussportscardsaustralia.com.au, click on the three little noodles, click on Check Out My Cards Australia, then click out the submission form tab. Once you click on that, it will just take you through a very simple process, how that you do it, fill out the form, all that type of stuff. It's all on the website. Otherwise, just send a message to Ross directly and he will take care of all of your customer service needs in the true US Sports Cards Australia way. Thank you very much to Ross and Michael for your ongoing support. Okay, Adam, we're back. How you doing?
I am fantastic. Ready for the final stretch.
Yeah, so this one, we'll try and do this quickly, although I don't reckon we're going to do it quick. This is from Anthony Mild. How do you feel about this as a buyer? I'm bidding on a RJ Barrett numbered to 99 on eBay and stumbled across it for sale on Facebook as well. I contacted the seller and said to me he's only exercising the rule applied on eBay within 24 hours. If they get a better offer for the card, they will take the better price and cancel the auction. My problem is people bidding on eBay don't know he's got it for sale elsewhere. Ethically, I find this disturbing. Hashtag the hobby is alive and kicking. Anthony, as always, thank you very much for your ongoing comments and support for our website. Alrighty, there is a lot of comments and reactions to this. So obviously, this has struck a nerve not only with Anthony, but a number of other collectors. I'll turn this over to you to hear what you've got to say.
I feel like it's a deceptive practice. I wouldn't be. Most people will say if they, and I'll use our Facebook groups as an example, listed elsewhere.
Correct.
Be upfront and honest. I have this card listed for sale on another platform. This is cross-posted. That's all you need to do. I think it's. I agree. I tend to agree with Anthony. There's a level of deception there. And I wouldn't want to be the one on the wrong side of it. That's all.
Yeah.
I just think
so
it just doesn't feel fair.
Bids cancelled quite regularly, and as someone who enjoys wading through the depths of eBay and trying to find bargains and pick things up on the cheap, I put these two things as a direct correlation. And I think sometimes sellers will cancel cards when they don't get the price that they want.
Yep.
And then put some BS, reason for cancellation, right? So I think to agree with your first part is that, I think the seller should have firstly said that it was cross-posted. And then the second part of this, I think at the end of the day, what the problem is for people is they don't get the price that they want. And so they use eBay auctions because it gets a lot of traction. Whereas if you put something up for sale for a set price, you actually might get more than that in an auction. And I think that's the reason why, people sort of go through that process.
The reason you do it in an auction is because you're rolling the dice on it. You can't just crack the sads about it if you don't get what you want.
Well, no, I don't think that's what sellers' perception is. I think sellers' perception is that you get a lot more views on auctions than what you do on Buy It Now. And so people go, okay, great.
But if it goes to auction and you sell it at auction, people are bidding on it, you can't just cancel it.
If you're a seller, you should honor the purchase price. But I don't think that's not the culture out there. I think what I'm trying to say is, and I think this is one thing I want to make pretty clear. I'm not endorsing this person's thing. I'm just trying to explain to people what the reality is out there in our community, right? And so I think for me, managing my own frustrations when I come into these things, I almost kind of go, look, this is the cost of doing business, and I'm not happy that my cards get cancelled, but this is the reality. And so this is the perfect example of that. This guy wanted $3,000 for the card, and that's what he had it listed for elsewhere.
Hang on, this
So
is a
the other
different
thing
card, isn't it?
I think it's the same one. So the one, because Anthony found it for sale, and
Oh,
so
okay.
and so I think, the other thing you can do here, if you would like to be a more ethical seller, because let's talk about this from both ways. So, let's point out what he didn't do, but also let's point out what he can do. You can also set a reserve limit. So then that means, and it will actually tell the people that, the reserve hasn't been met yet, so it won't sell. I think that's a very positive thing to do. I think the negative thing, though, is that you have to then pay fees on that if you do set a reserve, or it's an increased amount of fees. So there's that part of it too. The other red flag for me is this guy's only got 36 feedback points. So I'm just going to really quickly go into my eBay account, and I am not prolific on eBay on anything, and I've got 766 points, positive points of feedback. So I think if you're dealing with people who have got, less than 100, I think that's something you also need to sort of, take into account. These people are either starting a fresh account because they've been booted or their last one's been canned and received a significant amount of negative feedback, or they're very new to the hobby and they're a young person and they're probably going to be a dick about some stuff and trying to get, every single cent out of a deal that they can. And so, that's my other perception about this too.
Yeah.
And so, there's a whole bunch of questions commenting here. And
there's some the comments are actually so I think there's actually a consensus.
Oh, for
with
sure.
regards to the comments.
Definitely. Yeah. So what do you think the consensus is? Yeah.
The consensus is I think it's not appropriate practice. Like having something up, and most of us agree, if you've got something up for sale and you sell it elsewhere, that's fine. Take the sale thread down.
Yeah, so you can cross-post things on multiple sites and also eBay too. That actually is not a break of the rule. And that's probably something else I didn't get to, but I wanted to point out here. There's a difference between bad etiquette and a scam. And for me, this is not a scam. But this is also somebody that I wouldn't deal with again, and that's like the next thing I wanted to add.
For sure.
I would just put this guy onto my block list, and that's it. So that's the other thing too. Like, yeah.
The thing I point out is it was a live auction with bids on it.
Correct. Yeah.
So there were 15 bids at the time that Anthony shared the screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a case of oh, it's a slow-moving card, I'm just going to sell it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the guy put a hefty price on it on the marketplace ad, and it's currently sitting at $300, like $400.
Yeah.
Like, it's got bids on it. It's not just... He's not negotiating with one or two people. There are multiple people bidding on this card. It's in a live auction. People are effectively putting their hand up, making bids. That's not fair. You don't put a card up for auction and then say it's for sale elsewhere. That's not even dealing in bad faith. That's unethical. I'm completely with. You shouldn't be able to sell it if it's on auction. If it's on the block, that's where the attention needs to be.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's where the sale you would assume is going to come from.
Well, it's going to be sold there
unless he cancels it.
But no. But do you know what's the reason for cancelling it? Because he was offered.
Correct.
No, that shouldn't be the reason you pull it down. You shouldn't be accepting offers. You should be sorry. It's up for auction here. Go and bid. Because and that's the thing. So all right, and I'm the exaggerated point. If I have a big ticket item and I give it to an auction house, they're not giving me my card back to sell to somebody else mid-auction.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how that's managed, actually. If you can set a reserve on it.
Golden are selling a Wemby and it's only up to $200,000 and I have a private buyer that's going to pay $3 million for it.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, I'm taking the card down.
No, you sign a contract with them and then
correct.
It's done.
And I'm sure there's something about the T's and C's that say that that's actually not appropriate practice. Surely. I just think it's too much messing around to report and do all to get the ethical outcome, but you can't. Once it's up for bid, you shouldn't be able to cancel an auction like that. I mean, you also can't have the auction go through if you haven't got the damn thing in hand, so it's a lose-lose.
Anyway, I hope Anthony
I wouldn't deal with
got the card or got something else and got it sorted out, mate.
Yeah. I wouldn't deal with that person ever again. That would be my I would report them. I would name and shame.
Let's try and do two things quickly. We have not
Good
been
luck.
quick tonight. Let's see how we go. This is from Basketball Forever. Breaking: the Philadelphia 76ers will attempt to trade Paul George this offseason, according to Same Amico. What is the probability that Paul George is traded in the offseason, Adam?
0.
There is
He's
absolutely...
untradeable.
He has got $200 million guaranteed.
Oh, actually, no. Would you trade it? All right.
49 million, 49 million, and then 49 million for the next 3 years.
Oh,
after
wait.
this
Bradley
season.
Beal's got a no trade clause, hasn't he?
Oh, God.
If I was Phoenix, I'd think about it.
I don't think Daryl Morey would take Bradley Beal back. I think he values defense too much, and Bradley Beal is a sieve in so many different ways.
But that was like John Wall and Russell Westbrook getting traded. Like they're not assets that
it's
anyone's
possible to
want.
trade people. Yeah,
it's possible. You find a way. If you're Nico Harrison and you really want to get rid of your 10-year superstar, just call the Lakers.
Unbelievable. Alrighty. Okay. This one's for me.
And the second one,
Tim Duncan, 1997 EX Jambalaya PSA 7 Pop 5.
Oh,
sold for $3,000. Go Tim Duncan, go.
That's a beautiful card.
Yeah, so this is the 1997 version of a Kaboom, or this is the 1997 version of a Timeless Moment. You know, these cards are just highly collectible.
Skybox EX. That was
Look, I'm not going to lie to you. These cards don't really blow my hair back. I like it that they're collectible and all that type of stuff, but the reason why I wanted to talk about this, it's more because it's Tim Duncan. I love the Timmy Duncan factor on that.
The big fundamental.
We might even be able to get one more through. Alrighty, Moses Moody. This is a good one. I wanted to talk to you about this. Moses Moody. This is from @Mr. Hack. Moses Moody went from a fringe rotational player for the Warriors to now a key cog in their machine as they make a playoff push. Here's a deep dive into his development. We are not going to deep dive into development. We are going to talk about his card value off 130 point because he is not on card ladder.
I was going to say because he's probably not on the...
He is most definitely not. Alrighty, what do we got here? 21-22 Immaculate Moses Moody RPA to 99, sold for 90 USD. There's really not much at all on here.
There's a bugger all.
We've got a pink pulsar number to 42, but that is not a rookie one, so that's a bit of a tough one to comp out. That's sold for $5. We've got a Panini Prism draft pick stained glass.
Mm-hmm.
That's not NBA though. That is a college one, and that's sold for 78 USD. Look, I think Moses Moody is a really interesting one because I would actually put him down to the situation of he was in a really bad situation for him based on his development just because he was behind, some really, really, really significant vets with Steph Curry and Clay. Like that's almost impossible to get some time behind these two guys. Alrighty, on eBay, I found heaps more. So the Silver Prism signature for $8.49, a Contenders autograph to $5, $822. That is madness. That is insane. $822 off. This is a Moses Moody Optic number to 10 for $81. A Spectra Astral that sold for $750. That's not rookie though. So some of this stuff is going pretty cheap. So that's the Prism variant. So that's the horizontal one for $325.
Yep.
Okay, there's a couple of rookies here. So one's a silver and one's a red, white, and blue for $4.89. Look, I think if you're waiting for a larger sample size of data...
You're probably not going to get it.
No, I was going to say, I think, he's becoming a good player now, and also he's on a good team. And I think that, for me, means more.
More exposure, or?
Well, I think what I'm trying to say is if you're a good player and a bad team, I think that's pretty easy to do. If you're a good player and a good team, like that in my head means a lot more. And so if Moody is now, and we think that the Warriors are going to go deep in the playoffs, we were sort of talking about this at dinner the other night.
Yeah.
Now
they're making
the Warriors
a push.
have got Jimmy Butler, so if he's got silver selling for $2, the other one here is a red number to 299 that sold for $20. Oh, that's a fantastic buy, whoever did that, because some of this stuff is super high. So this one here, the neon green Fastbreak 4 out of 5, that sold for $600. I feel like that's
really
like it's either up here or it's all the way down here with this guy. It's very, there's no real in between for this kid, is there? Look, I'm putting Moody down as a buy. Honestly, this is kind of exciting. I think this is sort of the opportunity window for me where he's playing well, he's on a good team, and his prices are low. This is all just like tick, tick, tick for me.
Yeah, I agree. Positive.
All right. Final thoughts. Ad, what do you got for us, buddy?
Final thoughts. I had a great time at the trade day today. That was my final thought. It's been
It was fantastic.
It's lovely to see the community side of the hobby thriving, and it's good to be involved with people like Fastbreak Trading Cards. John
It's
and
an honor.
are amazing people, and it's very humbling to be welcomed so much from them, and they've been great sponsors. But the show they put on for the kids today was amazing. It was great.
Dominated.
We went and grabbed a snag and a can of drink and talked about cards, and it was great. There's just there aren't words. It's just this is where the hobby begins.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot, there'll be kids there today that this is their first hobby experience,
and they'll remember that day. 100%. I could not agree with you more.
Yep. So, props to you guys. That was awesome.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Central Coast Radio. We will see you next week.
See you next week, everyone.